This is Heartbeat on Radio. AFN 2002 is the show title. October 31st, 2002, it was recorded. Total running time is 22 minutes and 43 seconds. Program to begin in 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Heartbeat Alaska on Radio is brought to you by Alaska Family Housing Services, featuring their new prenatal home. Alaska Family Housing Services provides the comforts of home while you're in the city for education or health care. Information at 888-453-4833.
It's Heartbeat Alaska. It's Heartbeat Alaska. You can hear it from Sitka to Barrow. Gather around for Jeannie's show. It's the Alyeska, the Indian, and the Eskimo. It's the Alyeska, the Indian, and the Eskimo.
Hello and welcome to Heartbeat Alaska Native News and Information. I'm Jeannie Green. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, this past weekend was a wonderful one. It was the weekend of the Alaska Federation of Natives annual convention, a time where we meet and fellowship with good friends and neighbors and see people that we haven't seen since last year's convention. It's a great show. We'll show you a few of the highlights. You get to meet my brother Kenny Blatchford as he introduces you to some of the artisans from the Arts and Crafts Fair down below the meeting headquarters. At this year's convention, the cry heard across the floor was, "Let's get out and vote." A very, very important cry for Native people especially. The annual Alaska Federation of Natives Convention is the one time of the year when delegates from all over the state come together to discuss Native issues. The idea is for Alaska Natives to be able to speak with many voices, loud and clear. This is especially important this year with an election coming up in just a few days after the convention.
And I want you to know how much you do matter. You know how much of an impact you can make. You know that this is a critical time in Alaska's history. You know how much power you have. You know what we can accomplish working together. I'm here today to tell you that we are, as Alaskans, are at a critical time in our history. This year's election will determine a great deal about our future. As we cast our ballots for those who will lead us into the future, we'll be making decisions that will have far-reaching impacts.
The candidates for governor come to debate in front of a house packed with Native leaders. There are many tough issues facing Alaska right now. Decisions made in the next few years will determine what direction the state will go for decades to come. While one person's vote may not seem big, together the Native vote could easily decide this election as it has done in the past. That's why the candidates are here. While hard decisions and tough issues are being discussed upstairs in the main hall, anyone who has been to AFN will tell you that downstairs is where some of the toughest issues really are discussed.
I think that maybe some of the discussions that go downstairs should happen upstairs.
Somehow, downstairs, natives can talk about issues freely while shopping. My brother Kenny Blatchford took a walk downstairs to check out the craft fair and took the Heartbeat Alaska camera with him.
Hey, my name is Ken Blatchford. I'm with Heartbeat Alaska. We're at the 2002 AFN convention and we're about ready to go in and look at the crafts fair. Hello, what's your name?
John Waghiyi from Sabunga. My wife Arlene.
And you're the artist that did this work?
One of many.
Did you do these?
My wife Arlene did.
What are these?
Those are walrus stomach and polar bear and seal products. They're we call them berry buckets.
Awesome. What's your name?
John Oscar.
John Oscar. Are you an artist, obviously?
Yeah, so I've been doing this for like about 25, 26 years almost, somewhere there.
Wonderful. Could you tell us a little bit about your work?
Yeah, I discovered this art format a couple of years ago where it uses three-dimensional format on flat watercolor paintings. And I'm the only one in the state of Alaska that does this.
So you have an exclusive.
I have an exclusive. Why? This is doing good.
It's actually very beautiful work. We can get a shot. If you stand over here, we'll get a shot with you and your beautiful work. Speaking with
John Boone. I do marine mammal products on sea otter furs and seal skins, and I do harvest all of these out of Prince William Sound, and I do all of the sewing myself. It's all hand sewn, and I teach classes in it too for the Prince William Sound Community College. It takes about a day to hunt the animals, and then you skin them, salt them, and then you take them to the tannery, which could be anywhere from 1 month to 6 months on tanning process, or waiting it for your pelts to get back. Then you get to start on the fur work once you get the furs back. And then once you get the fur back, it's about 3 hours you can put a hat together like this.
I'm here with Perry Eaton, Human Resource Director for Alyeska Pipeline Services. Would you like to give just a brief overview of what you do?
Sure. We actually have a commitment and a contractual relationship with the Secretary of Interior to ensure that at least 20% of our workforce is Alaska Native. And that's not only 20% sort of across the board, but it's vertically integrated up and down the line of varying duties and responsibilities within the company. And we've sort of benchmarked some goals between now and 2004 to get there. And we're at about 18-19% now, and way ahead of schedule. And we've got some exciting young people from the Native community working for us. And
hi, I'm Gary Wade. Oakland Naik is my Tlingit name, and I'm from Juneau, Alaska. I sell shell buttons. My business is called Regalia Buttons, and I sell the buttons to put on your button blankets, tunics, or vests, or whatever the artist decides they want to use shell buttons for. They're pretty, they're shiny. Put a shiny object down in front of a Tlingit hider or Tsimshian, and they can't help themselves.
My name is Tony Henry from Quyana, Alaska. I have here an Inupiaq harpoon. It's traditionally made. This is what we used to use long before steel. We have an ivory tip here with bearded sealskin rope. Many years ago, we also used hard rock for the tip, or baleen, and this has ivory on it. I think if our Native people would focus on their cultural history and sort of repeat it in their lives by making some of the things that we used in the past, I think that would really help them in their lives, because they can understand who they are, they can understand where they come from.
Okay, everybody, let's get your mucklucks on, get your most beautiful regalia, your seal parkas, whatever. We're going to go dancing. The Yoretet Dance Group, and forgive my pronunciation, came from Bethel and was a favorite at this year's Quyana, Alaska. This particular song is about young love and that magical moment, the kiss. Yoretet kept the laughs coming with their next song, even though they had some trouble getting started.
I'm still in that other song. Boy, my mind is blank. Okay, I got it.
Yoretet's leader, Joe Iagrak, loves to make people laugh. For him, laughter is wellness.
And that's the purpose of dancing, is to bring laughter to people, to our audience, to bring joy to their lives. As the Word of God tells us, the joy, the Lord is my strength. And if God wasn't joyful, he would not have put that in his word. See, God is not serious. I mean, he's serious, but then he also has joy. So the joy of the Lord is my strength.
Things at Quyana really got lively when one of the members of the dance group, Alyeska, pulled up the hood of her cussbuck and put a little extra spice in the dances. One of the great joys of the Alaska Federation of Natives Convention is to get a glimpse of other Native cultures from around the world. The Chukotka dance group from Russia shared many of the elements of Alaska Native dance and drumming, yet there was no mistaking this group was from across the water. In one of the most breathtaking moments of the evening, the audience hushed as Veronica walked to the middle of the stage alone.
Veronica is now going to sing an event song about the sunrise.
most wonderful things about AFN, everyone agrees, is meeting each other. And I sure had fun meeting good friends and people I'd never known before, coming up to me and saying, hello, Jeannie, and making comments about our programming. A lot of the comments were from people that really loved the show. And I thank you so much for giving us that great feedback. After all, we make the show for you. Until next week, for all of us here, God bless you. We'll see you next week.
Pad in Central Florida. Senior Airman Israel Avalez was on hand for the half-century commemoration of that historic July event.
It was called the Bumper Project, one of America's first attempts to harness rocket power. In the 1950s, the project was moved to what is now the nation's heart of space science, Cape Canaveral, Florida, and Bumper 8 was the first rocket launched from the Cape. Norris Gray was one of those who watched.
Okay, the first time this was supposed to happen was bumper number 7, but we had a misfire. And we had to safe it, take it down, and redo it. But bumper number 8 was put back up on the pad, fueled, and it was a big success to us once it got off the pad.
Gray and the relatively few others from the first launch crew returned to the Cape this month to commemorate 50 years of launches, more than 3,200 in all from the Florida site.
And the benefits of what mankind is reaping as a result of what you all started here 50 years ago is almost too difficult to mention. Just about everything in our daily lives now, in some capacity, is tied to things that took place in space or through the research and development that has led us to space.
As part of the 50th anniversary, 50 model rockets, one for each 50 years of the program. And the highlight, an 8-foot replica of the original Bumper 8. Cape Canaveral and the Air Force's involvement in the space program has come a long way since Bumper took to the skies on that July day in Florida. Half a century later, both are still reaching for the stars. Senior Airman Israel Aviles, Air Force News, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, Florida.
That'll do it for this edition of Air Force Television News. Remember, we want to hear from you. You can drop us a line with your comments by using our internet address, aftvnews@afnews.af.mil. I'm Tech Sergeant David Pullen.
This is Air Force Television News with Technical Sergeant David Pullen.
On this edition of the program, how the Air Force is making major contributions to the nation's health, from heart disease to snoring. We'll take a look at both in a moment, but first, a turnaround for the service's recruiting effort. Believe it or not, the Air Force is winning its war on recruiting and will reach this year's 34,000 sign-up goal. With more than 26,000 recruits sent to basic training this year, there are enough new candidates for basic training by September 30th to meet the year 2000 goal.